Imagine a creature so unremarkable that most people walk right past it on the ocean floor without a second glance. It looks like a wrinkled cucumber, moves at the pace of a sleepy snail, and spends its days eating sand. Yet scientists just discovered that this humble sea cucumber might hold a revolutionary weapon against cancer. This isn't some far-fetched theory or clickbait hype. Researchers at the University of Mississippi just published groundbreaking findings showing that a unique sugar compound from the Florida sea cucumber can block a key enzyme that helps tumors grow and spread. And here's the kicker. It does this without the dangerous bleeding side effects that have plagued similar treatments for decades. Think about how most cancer treatments work today. Chemotherapy is essentially controlled poisoning. We blast the body with toxic chemicals, hoping they'll kill cancer cells faster than healthy ones. It's like using a sledgehammer when what we really need is a scalpel. The side effects are brutal. Hair loss, nausea, weakened immune systems, and sometimes permanent organ damage. Patients often say the treatment feels worse than the disease. But what if we could target cancer more precisely? What if instead of carpet bombing the entire body, we could disable specific mechanisms that tumors use to thrive? That's exactly what this sea cucumber compound appears to do. Here's how it works. Picture the surface of your cells covered in tiny forests of sugar chains called glycans. These aren't just decorations, they're like zip codes that help cells communicate and control growth signals. Now, cancer cells have figured out a devious trick. They produce massive amounts of an enzyme called sulf2, which acts like a pair of molecular scissors pruning these sugar forests in ways that benefit the tumor. By cutting specific parts of these sugar chains, sulf2 releases growth factors that were being held in check. Suddenly, the cancer cell is flooded with signals telling it to divide uncontrollably, grow new blood vessels, and spread to other parts of the body. It's like a prison break where sulf2 is cutting all the fences. Scientists have known about this enzyme for years and desperately wanted to stop it. The problem, every drug they tried came with a potentially lethal side effect: uncontrolled bleeding. See, sulf2 normally helps with blood clotting, so blocking it could turn a minor cut into a medical emergency. Enter the Florida sea cucumber, scientific name Holothuria floridana. This 8-inch brown blob lives in shallow waters throughout the Caribbean, slowly crawling across sandy bottoms while vacuum cleaning organic matter. Marine biologists affectionately call them ocean janitors because they literally eat dirt and poop out clean sand, recycling nutrients for the entire ecosystem. But inside this unglamorous creature, evolution has been running a chemistry experiment for millions of years. The research team, led by doctoral student Marwa Farag, isolated a complex sugar molecule that sea cucumbers produce in their body walls. This isn't just any sugar. It's a fucosidylated chondroitin sulfate with a specific structural feature that makes it incredibly special. What makes this discovery so exciting is that this sea cucumber sugar can latch on to the sulf2 enzyme at multiple points, essentially jamming it up like gum in a lock. The cancer cells can no longer use their molecular scissors to release growth signals. But remarkably, when researchers tested it for effects on blood clotting, they found none. Zero. Nada. Dr. Joshua Sharp from the research team explained why this matters. If you're treating cancer patients with something that prevents blood clotting, uncontrolled bleeding becomes a devastating side effect. Finding a sulf2 blocker that doesn't affect blood clotting is like finding a needle in a haystack, except the needle was hiding inside a sea cucumber all along. The team used cutting-edge techniques to verify their findings. They ran computer simulations predicting how the sugar would interact with the enzyme, then confirmed those predictions with laboratory experiments. When the computational models matched the real-world results perfectly, they knew they were onto something big. But here's where things get complicated. You can't just scoop up thousands of sea cucumbers and grind them into medicine. First, these creatures are already under pressure from overfishing. They're considered delicacies in Asia and sell for hundreds of dollars per pound dried. Second, each sea cucumber contains only tiny amounts of this compound. To get enough for serious drug development, you'd need to harvest so many that you'd destroy entire marine ecosystems. Remember, these aren't just random ocean creatures. Sea cucumbers are ecosystem engineers. Their feeding activity aerates sediment, recycles nutrients, and even helps buffer against ocean acidification. Removing them would be like ripping out all the earthworms from farmland. The whole system would collapse. So, the next challenge is synthesis. The researchers need to figure out how to make this complex sugar molecule in the laboratory. And when I say complex, I mean really complex. This isn't like making table sugar. It's more like trying to build a molecular Swiss watch with specific chemical groups attached at precise locations in three-dimensional space. Dr. Vitor Paman, one of the lead researchers, put it bluntly. You can't get tons and tons of sea cucumbers. They have to crack the code of making this compound artificially before they can even think about testing it in animals or humans. If they succeed in making it synthetically, the compound would then face years of testing. First in cancer cells in petri dishes, then in mice with tumors, and eventually, if everything goes perfectly, in human clinical trials. We're talking about a journey that typically takes 12 to 15 years and costs hundreds of millions of dollars. But consider the payoff. We're looking at a potential new class of cancer drugs that work by disrupting the tumor's support system rather than trying to poison it directly. These drugs could be used alone or combined with existing treatments to make them more effective. Imagine chemotherapy that works better at lower doses because the cancer can't spread as easily. Imagine treatments with fewer side effects because they're targeting specific mechanisms rather than carpet bombing healthy tissue. This discovery also highlights something profound about drug discovery. Some of our most powerful medicines come from the most unexpected places. The painkiller, morphine, comes from poppies. The heart drug, digitalis, comes from foxglove flowers. Antibiotics came from mold. And now, potentially a new cancer treatment from an animal that looks like a lumpy brown sausage. The ocean remains largely unexplored when it comes to medical compounds. Marine organisms live in a chemical warfare zone where they've evolved unique molecules for defense and communication. The fact that a sea cucumber developed a sugar structure that happens to jam up a human cancer enzyme is both random and remarkable. What struck me most about this research is how it represents modern science at its best. You've got marine biologists working with cancer researchers, computer modelers collaborating with medicinal chemists, all united by the goal of turning a quirky ocean creature's chemistry into a potential lifesaver. The team used cutting-edge techniques that sound like science fiction. Surface plasmon resonance to measure molecular binding, mass spectrometry footprinting to map protein interactions, molecular dynamics simulations to predict atomic-level behavior. Yet all this high-tech wizardry is focused on understanding a sugar molecule that's been around since before humans existed. We're still years away from knowing if this sea cucumber compound will make it to pharmacy shelves. The road from discovery to drug is littered with promising compounds that failed for one reason or another. Maybe the synthesis will prove too difficult or expensive. Maybe it won't work as well in living animals as it does in test tubes. Maybe unexpected side effects will emerge. But even if this particular compound doesn't pan out, the approach it represents, finding precise molecular tools in nature to disable specific disease mechanisms, is the future of medicine. We're moving from sledgehammers to scalpels, from carpet bombing to precision strikes. The next time you see a nature documentary showing some bizarre deep-sea creature or unusual plant, remember that it might harbor the next breakthrough medicine. The cure for cancer might not come from a high-tech lab, but from understanding how a humble sea cucumber protects its own cells with an unusual sugar molecule. This discovery reminds us that in the fight against cancer, our allies can come from the most unexpected places, even from a slow-moving ocean janitor that most people would never notice. Sometimes the most powerful solutions are hiding in plain sight, waiting for someone curious enough to look closer. Who knows? The next time someone asks where cancer cures come from, the answer might just be from the bottom of the ocean, courtesy of a creature that eats dirt for a living. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video.